we might have some things we need to do to pay the bills. So maybe we've chosen the least expensive apartment that we can find, but then we still have to pay the rent. So then we have to find a job, and especially right now with the pandemic, it's a challenge to find a job in the first place, so you can't necessarily be really picky about what you're doing. But all of these things that we choose are hopefully in service of where we want to go in life. So you have an apartment in a certain location because that location is important to you. You get whatever job you can because it's important to pay the bills for the apartment. And then that leaves you spare time outside of the job that you need to do to be able to handle the rest of things in life, grocery shopping and all the rest of the things. So it could be that because of the job you have to take and because of the other tasks that you have to do just to maintain your life, that you have very little time left in the first place. And it's hard to say in the current environment, well, you should just get a different job because so many people are out of work that it's a blessing to have a job in the first place. But you can still think about the time that you have available and how you can use it effectively to do the things that you really want to do. If you get home and you're really exhausted and all you can do is sit and stare at a TV screen, then that's certainly one solution. But if you really enjoy doing art, maybe instead of staring at a TV screen and watching, I don't know, reality TV or something like that, what if you sat and stared at YouTube and watched people doing watercolors? And it could still be a fairly mindless thing where you just sit back, you don't even paint, you just watch people painting things. But as you're watching them, you're learning things which are going to serve you in your purpose. It could be really relaxing if you enjoy watercolor painting. And over time, you could learn more and more skills, and maybe you would be inspired and say, oh, all right, well, maybe I'll get some watercolor paper and sit here and paint along. And even if I'm not as good as these people are with what they're doing, I'm still getting practice. And the more you practice over time, the better you get, the more relaxing it becomes, the more that it becomes a normal, natural part of your cycle and something that you look forward to. So part of the value of creating a long-term and then a short-term plan is you think about the things that you want to work on, and then you try to find little gentle ways to put them into your schedule. So if you want to be a writer, it could be stressful to think about sitting down with a blank piece of paper and writing something, and so you never even get started. But if you just carry around a notebook and you take little notes about the places you go or the scenery that you see or the way the light dappled on the trees or so on, then you start building a library of thoughts. And then when you sit down, you could work on just a scene. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the book. It can just be a little scene, a little moment with the way the landscape looked or the way the characters talked to each other or that sort of thing. And when you start chipping away at these things in little sections, then it seems much easier to get done. It seems less threatening. And the more you get practice at it, the easier and easier it gets, and the more that you make progress towards the things that you want to do. So it can be hard when you look at your schedule and say, I don't have a big gap of time, so therefore I'm not going to start something because I want to wait until I have a big gap. Often we don't get these big gaps of time. So just look for small little gaps and find ways to ease into it gently so that you can start working on things slowly but surely in a less stressful manner. All right, so if you feel as if you are too busy, then one solution is to look for little ways to wiggle in things that you're interested in doing into your schedule without trying to make gigantic holes for it. And think easy and small for your first steps. Just watch a watercolor video. Just watch a video on waltzing or whatever it is that you want to learn more about. Take it slow and easy at the beginning and just get yourself comfortable with the environment of it. And then that will hopefully make it feel less intimidating and that you can make more progress and make it less intimidating and so on. Another thing that you can think about, just watching where the cat is up to, is think about ways to make your existing cycle easier. Because the more that you can streamline and reduce stress in your existing cycle, the more that you'll have the energy and the motivation to do other things that you want to get done. It could be that you so stressed out and worn down by the things you're currently doing that you just can't even think about tackling something else because you've burnt yourself out. So, just as an example, every Saturday morning I do a workshop from 10 to 1 for the Blackstone Valley Art Association. And I do it here at my desk, which is where I'm sitting right now. And I have this whole tripod rig, which is actually a tripod rig that I bring out with me when I go to tape our artists painting on site. So if they're painting at a church and they have an easel and their palette and everything all set up, I have a bunch of tripods that I set the cameras up on so that I can view the person painting from different angles. And when I was doing my workshops in my office here, I would set that entire tripod rig up to hold my cell phone next to me, pointing over the desk area where I was doing my watercolor painting. And that was very challenging because there isn't a lot of space over the desk where I'm trying to paint, and I'd be trying to paint around the tripod. The cat would go back and forth and knock over the tripod, and even the clampy thing that held the cell phone into the tripod was very hard to use. So I would end up getting frustrated every time I was trying to do one of these workshops, which doesn't make any sense because I love doing the workshops. I love painting, and this was a chance for me both to happily paint for 3 hours and to be able to talk with other people who enjoy painting about it. So it was really a win-win. And why was I getting frustrated about this tripod that I'm trying to jam in this corner when it wasn't the best solution? I have a shelf right next to me with big, sturdy wood shelves, and they have clamp things which clamp onto the shelf and then have a gooseneck to hold your cell phone with nice, easy to use cell phone clamps. So all I had to do is spend $20 on a clamp to clamp to that shelf, gooseneck right over my desk, and now the cat doesn't knock it over. There's nothing here to get in my way when I'm trying to paint, and it just makes everything so much smoother. So why did I go? I mean, I've been doing this since March, and this only just occurred to me in December. So I've been going 9 months, 9 months of having one of my fun activities become troublesome and annoying for pretty much $20. If I just spent the $20 and got the different way of mounting the cell phone, then everything would have been so much easier. So I have now done it, which is good. And it in fact arrives today, so that makes me really happy. So I should have sat down and thought about, all right, this is something I do once a week for 3 hours. What are the troubles that I'm hitting right now with it, and how could I make those easier? And once I finally sat down and did it and said, this is silly that I'm having this problem week after week after week, I found a solution, I solved it, and now it'll just be so much easier. And the fact that there won't be that added stress in it means that I'll have much more energy for doing other things on Saturdays, because now doing the painting thing will be a breeze and something I look forward to, and then I can go on and do other kinds of things. So think about, for a given week, let's say, map out a given week. And this is a good practice to get in just in general. Make a grid for the week with the 7 days of the week and with a spot like for each half hour during the day. So you'd have Monday, and then you'd have little spots in your grid for, sorry, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and so on. And for that week, keep track of the things that you are doing and if you have any hiccups with any of the things. And again, this is just a good exercise to do every once in a while in general to keep track of your life, because you might not even realize how much time you spend on some tasks and what kinds of gaps you might have in there that you could be doing other tasks if you just rearrange things a little. Yeah, we get into patterns and habits and we don't think about how they began. Maybe they began for a reason that was really good 5 years ago, and now that reason doesn't really make sense anymore, but we just keep doing it because it's become the way that we do things. So if you sit down for a week and map out as you're going through the week what you're doing and how you're doing it, then you could look back and say, oh, well, it would make much more sense if I combined those two things together because they both happen in the same part of the house or the same place in town that I have to go. Or maybe I could do this aspect a little differently. And again, you don't have to rearrange your whole schedule at once and feel stressed by that. You can just choose one little thing. You can just say, okay, on Saturdays when I do my 10 to 3 painting, I keep having troubles with my tripod. What kind of solution could I find that would make that part easier? And poof, you make that easier, and now one section of your life is going much more smoothly. And then you could say, okay, I used to send emails out to all of my writing groups, and we've got like 70 members in one writing group and 40 members in another writing group. I used to send them out in just bulk email messages, which meant that some people's mail systems wouldn't get them. And then if someone hit reply, it would go to everybody, and now everyone would be getting the replies that they didn't need to get. And that was challenging. So at some point I said, all right, this current system is causing problems. Let's go to MailChimp, which is a free mailing software, put the names into MailChimp, and now we know that people can easily subscribe and unsubscribe. Everyone gets the messages. We aren't getting messages blocked. If someone hits reply, it just comes back to me. So by sitting down and thinking, all right, what is the challenge that we're having here, and how do I find a better solution, I was able to work through and find something that now, reduced stress and made everything much easier. So again, it's an exercise to go through. You don't go through this every week and try to figure everything out, but every couple of months, sit there and map out what you're doing for a week. Be mindful and attentive of all the things that you're spending time with during the week. And if you're spending time watching, I don't know, The Amazing Race or something because it's a lot of fun and you look forward to it on Wednesday nights, I'm not saying cut that out. I mean, if it's something that you enjoy and that you look forward to and you have fun and it's your time to sit down with a bowl of popcorn and just be joyful, then certainly do that. And just know that that's a time, that block that you've set aside for yourself to do that kind of restful, joyful activity. We all need joy and happiness in our lives. So it's a balance. you know, Watching it an hour each week is great fun. And if you don't have anything pressing that you need to be doing otherwise, then you might as well have the fun. But if you're watching reality shows all day, every day, and you also want to get a college degree, then, something needs to give in there. You need to figure out how to manage your time so that you both have time to watch some of the shows you want to watch and you have time to make progress on the goals that you have in life. One of the challenges we have, and again, a lot of it comes down to our modern era of media and the internet, is that there are so many shows out there that one could watch TV all day, every day, and not have any time left to do anything else. And a lot of them are really, really good shows. I'm not saying that it's a waste of time to be doing that. There's a lot of amazing shows, and even if you want to say, we want to learn something, you could just watch National Geographic and other educational shows, and you could watch them all day, every day, and learn fascinating, amazing things, but you could still not be making progress on the things that you want to make progress on in your life. If one of your aims is to move out of the little apartment that you're in and move into a house someday, you're probably not going to get to that aim if you are watching cool TV shows all day, every day, unless your job is to be a TV show reviewer. There's going to need to be some sort of a balance in there. So that's part of why mapping out your time and seeing what you're spending time on and then looking at the goals that you have for yourself is a good exercise to figure out where you are in the balance. And there are certain, different people have different goals and aims. It could be if someone is in a nursing home and they're bedridden, that their goals do not involve going out and getting a job so they can earn money to get a house. It could be that they are in their nursing home and they have accepted that they're going to be in the nursing home for their life, and that what they want to do with their time is learn all sorts of fascinating things about the Roman Empire and volcanoes and whatever their joys and loves are. And that's perfectly fine. That's what their goals are in life, and that should be supported. If someone's goals are to save up to get a house or to get a college degree or something like that, they're going to need to spend their time in a different way. So we are all unique individuals and we each have our own different goals. And the goals don't all have to be object oriented. The person in the nursing home who wants to learn about the Roman Empire and volcano, there isn't a object that they're looking to get out of that. They're looking to get the joy of having knowledge and understanding things, which is a quite delightful goal to have in life. And it could be that someone is a spiritual person and they want to spend an hour in prayer every day because that means a lot to them, and they want to spend 4 hours at church on Sundays because that means a lot to them. And that is also a wonderful goal. It's not about achieving a house or achieving a degree or something else. It's about maintaining a a feeling It's the wrong word. I can't think of what word I would use instead, but we'll just say feeling. Maintaining a feeling within them that's important to them. So don't necessarily think of goals as something that can be counted in money or in objects or something like that. Goals are quite fine to be counted in the way you feel about the world or the way that you're helping others or those sorts of spiritual kinds of things. It's what's important to you, and only you can decide what's important to you and why it's important to you.